And he's kind of in like this weird stage where he's like trying to be defiant, and it kind of like hurts my feelings.
Like pushing boundaries or what?
Yeah, but it kind of, I mean, I know it shouldn't let it bother me because he's, not even 3 years old yet, turns 3 next week. But it's like Crystal is trying to teach him that he's got his own body and his own space. So like, you don't have to hug everybody. You don't have to kiss everybody, because everybody obviously wants to hug and kiss him. So she's trying to teach that to him, that he doesn't have to do that with people. But he's like testing it out on me. So he's like, every time I try and give him a hug or a kiss, he's like, I don't have to give you a hug or a kiss. I don't want to give you a hug or a kiss. And it kind of like hurts my feelings.
I wouldn't take it personally, but yeah, that's kind of...
Because it's like, I try and do all these things for him, and I'll like go to give him a kiss at night before bed, and he's just like, I don't want to kiss Daddy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, like freaking knife to my
I don't have any children myself, but Caitlin's daughter is sometimes like that, just to her, to me, to anybody else who is important to her. Like, she knows, like, she cares and loves for a lot of people, but when she's in like a certain mood, she'll be totally the opposite. Like, give me a hug, and she'll just, no, I don't like you anymore. Or just like,
and like, I
holy
know
cow. And it's
he
easy
doesn't mean
if that was
it.
an adult saying that, we'd be like, man,
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
But it's a child, and like, they don't understand the actual feelings and emotion behind it. They're just saying it because they're.
I'm trying to teach him like.
Are we recording?
Yeah, I'm trying to teach him like consequences to his actions and like being accountable and responsibility. I don't know how old you're supposed to be before those start to like sink in, but like because it was his birthday's next week, but we kind of like celebrated part of it this past weekend because it was Mother's Day, and we got him that electric tractor, but it doesn't work. Like, it was just a crappy one apparently, and it worked for like a month and it didn't work. So I bought him a little electric 0-turn mower from Tractor Supply Co. And it's like he hadn't figured out how to adjust the handles while also simultaneously pushing the gas pedal. And like the handles are pretty wide, so by the time he pushes it forward, like he doesn't really have the weight. So I moved the handles in more narrow, and I had to unscrew a bolt and move it around. So I unscrewed the bolt, took the bolt out, and moved the handle around. And then he just like grabbed the bolt and threw it in the grass. And
what a little
I had
turd.
just mowed, and I'm like, I can't find the bolt piece now. Like, it's gone. I'm like, I'm trying to fix this for you, and you're throwing the piece that I need into a grass, and I can't find it. So I'm like, go look for it. And he's like, no, you go look for it. And I'm like, no, you threw it. Take responsibility for your actions. There's consequences to your actions. Go find the bolt. And then he went and got Mom, Crystal, to go look for it. And Crystal's like, what's going on? So I told her, and she's like, where'd you throw it, Rigel? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just like, this is not cool. You got to take responsibility for your actions. So, yeah, he was a little bit of a next level this past weekend. But yeah, there's a lot of stress today with the price change officially going into effect. So we're kind of push that live as soon as we get done recording here. We'll see how that is received. But again, all the feedback with the announcement was positive, so I'm optimistic.
Yep. The right people are cool with it.
Yeah. We're leaving for Meatstock this week, so that'll be good. We got to go through all of our booth stuff. We're not going to sell any bricks there. We're just going to be sampling bricks. So
that's in Tennessee.
Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I'm honestly really excited about this one because I haven't been to this one before, but there's a lot of good names going that I'm all really close with. So it'd be kind of like a reunion for me to be able to see some of these people I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, and it's not huge. It's not like way too big of a production.
So it should be pretty intimate. I think they're doing like a cabin stay thing in the 2 days prior. I'm not going to that. I'm going there to speak the latter 2 days. I think Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, or something like that.
I think Saturday, Sunday. There's a extended duration retreat where people are staying for several days, and then the actual
prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it overlaps from on the front end and the back end, but
okay.
Then the event is Saturday, Sunday.
And you and Ellen are going to go to that, and y'all be manning the booth. I'm speaking on a metabolic panel, I believe, and then they're doing like a vendor speaking thing, which would be kind of cool because I can talk about history of the bricks and what it is and all that good stuff. So yeah, we'll do that. So we'll be leaving for that on Thursday, and then Rigel's birthday is that Sunday, so we'll stay an extra day and do something fun in Gatlinburg, and then we'll come back on Wednesday. And y'all are coming back on Monday, right?
Yep. Yeah, we should be back in town Monday morning.
So that'll be good. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I think they're going to have a whole lot of meat there to eat at Meatstock.
I'm in prep, so I'm gonna
Dialed.
be my lips are gonna be zipped, which kind of sucks.
Zipped.
But
Well, you're 8 weeks out from your first show.
yeah, so one of the last times we were at KetoCon, or Hack Your Health now it's called, I was in prep too, and man, that was just brutal. Because at that time, they don't necessarily do it as much anymore, I don't think, but at that time, several years ago, they had tons of food samples.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could get cooked bacon, sausage. The Piedmontese guys were there cooking steaks all weekend, so you could just walk over and get a little chunk of steak. And you can't do that when you're in prep because you got to just dial right down and.
It wasn't honestly that hard for me, but like one of the situations that I was in prep where most people would be like, oh, how did you do that? Was when I went on that low carb cruise in prep. So we were on the cruise and everybody's eating everything. And I went as far as to only eat keto bricks, carnivore snacks. I'd bought a bunch of carnivore snacks. I was eating that and bricks. And the only thing that I got from the cruise ship food-wise was hard-boiled eggs. That's literally all I ate the entire time I was there. Because like when you go to the restaurants and everything, like you don't know what the macros on that are. You can't weigh those out. You don't know what they're cooked in. So yeah, that was pretty strict. But man, honestly, like it didn't really faze me too much because most of the food on a cruise ship is kind of like subpar anyways. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really feel like I was missing it. Have you never been on a cruise?
Never been on a cruise.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, they're cool, I guess, but they're too touristy. They're too touristy centric. Like I want to go travel, go to a different country, but then like go way inland, which is typically what I'll do on a cruise. Is I'll go way inland once they dock, so I can get away from all the touristy stuff. Sure. Like as soon as you land, there's like this big hype, and they've got all these shops and everything to sell you stuff, and everybody's wheeling and dealing and trying to like chauffeur you over so they can sell you something that's overpriced. Mm-hmm. So I like trying getting away from all that and actually get to experience some of the
I'm sure
culture.
they see a cruise ship pull up and they're like, all right, here's our next pile of victims.
Yeah.
And they just sell you a bunch of shit.
I mean, think about it. Like some of those places, that's their primary form of income, like the cruise ship, tourist attraction.
They say like, don't veer too far off that beaten path, like away from the group, because that's where there could be like elevated crime, or they could prey on you, or they could follow you, or all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, that's where you're going.
That's where I'm going. One time we went, and this was before Rigel was born. We landed, and then we rented a Jeep. We rented like a Wrangler Jeep, and we went as far inland as we had time for, and we were just like cruising around and like looking at all the locals. And then we got lost, and I couldn't get back, so we almost missed the ship departure, but we made it just in time. But that was cool. The best one, I think, is there's like this one spot where you can get like golf carts and everything. Mm-hmm. And we rented a golf cart and we went way off the trail, and we just found our own little private oasis beach somewhere that nobody else went that far to get to. And then we just kind of hung out there. There was like a little restaurant there that nobody knew about.
That's cool.
So we just had our evening there, that was nice.
You got the real deal.
Got the real deal. But yeah, lots of junk food on a cruise ship. You know what? There's also a lot of junk food in
everywhere.
The sugar diet.
The entire world. I was going to ask you about that. All right, that's been just blowing up social media lately.
I'm a post and ghost guy on social, so I honestly haven't seen.
I've seen.
So you got to bring me up to speed. What are you seeing?
The sugar diet.
Okay, so what is it?
This supposedly it's a nutritional protocol that just ramps up your metabolism like crazy and gets you in just a crazy fat burning stage.
And who's the main proponents of this?
I've been seeing the majority of it through Mark Bell, but he's got it shared from, I think, one of the original founders or contributors of it. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Cole Robinson's been posting that too. I think right? He's the snake diet guy.
Yep. So essentially, I think you're really reducing your fat intake down to like single-digit grams per day. The majority of your diet is all sugar, and it's higher glycemic fruits and vegetables and all this kind of stuff that you eat primarily through the majority of the day until you get into the afternoon or evening hours, and then you fill up on lean protein sources. Supposedly that's the approach. I mean, I don't know.
What is the supposed mechanism of action? Like, what are they suggesting?
Supposedly it's really ramping up your insulin sensitivity.
Interesting.
So you're able to just really, really utilize all the sugar, all the glucose.
All right, so I'm a fan of Mark Bell. He and I are friends. We use his protein in the bricks. Nothing negative to say about him at all, but I am not. It's kind of funny, man. Like, I
Seems like a fad diet.
Yeah.
How sustainable is that?
Yeah. I did all these different diets before I went keto. Like I did the bro diet, I did the clean diet, the flexible diet, if it fits your macros, the carb backloading. I tried all these different
cycling,
things.
the refeeds,
cycling,
the cheat meals,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
carb cycling.
Yeah. And carb backloading. Are you familiar with carb backloading? So yeah, developed by John Kiefer, and that was honestly kind of the introduction to keto, because you're basically keto during the day, and then at night you eat a lot of really high glycemic index stuff, kind of like the sugar diet. So like, syrups, honeys, brownies, all that stuff. And I would just slam that before going to bed. And honestly, I didn't really gain any body fat from it. And it kind of like worked for the chapter I was in a lot, because I was still binge eating at that time. So it kind of like justified the binge.
Oh, sure.
But after a while of doing that, I kind of like had a heart to heart with myself. I'm like, is this really the healthiest option for me? Is this sustainable long term? Do I really think that eating nothing but brownies and, high glycemic index, sugary foods for a lifetime is going to be what paves the direction for better health?
Right, because what are you getting for micronutrients?
Yeah.
You're not getting anything.
Obviously, the answer is a resounding no. So then I just kind of drew the line of like, okay, if it's not sustainable long term, I don't want it to be the foundational pillar for what I'm eating. So I did away with that and went keto. And like competition prep isn't sustainable long term, but you and I both eat the exact same things, whether we're in competition prep or out of competition prep. It's just the quantities that change. So I am much more an advocate of eating the most nutrient dense natural foods possible that are essential, and that's distilled down to fats and proteins. So not a fan of the sugar diet, man. And I feel like a lot of people with any of these fad diets, it's basically just, it's overly hyped because it justifies people's cravings for whatever it is. So like same thing when Paul Saladino went from carnivore to like eating a whole bunch of fruit and honey, like that's not necessarily beneficial. It's just making people feel good and justifying their desire to eat fruits and honey. And I feel like the same thing is going on now with the sugar diet. So not a fan. I feel like it's just, boding into people's insecurities and cravings and desires, basically just pacifying people, I think. And again, I don't know that much about it. I haven't dug super deep into the metabolic effects of it, but from a high level view, that's my initial thoughts on it.
Doesn't seem sustainable.
No.
It doesn't seem like it really promotes long-term health.
Plus, if you're not doing a lot of fat, that's where the flavor is. Like
that's where hormones are,
that's where the hormones, because I did the whole low-fat thing. I was doing 30 grams of fat a day, and my hormones tanked. Libido was horrendous. And honestly, that's when my OCD really flared up, because my mental cognition got worse. So
mental health.
Yeah, mental health took a hit. Like Chris Palmer, all the work he's doing right now on mental health and antidepressants, and like the healing nature of a ketogenic diet and having ketones circulating in the brain because they cross the blood-brain barrier. Like, to me, I'm not willing to sacrifice that to eat a bunch of sweet tarts,
Agreed. So, yep, 100%.
That's my take on
I'm going to stay away from the sugar diet.
I'm going to stay away from the sugar
diet.
Do
the opposite.
You look at kids that eat a whole bunch of sugar, and like Rigel doesn't eat any sugar, so he's not really a good example. But you kind of see firsthand.
I do.
When she eats a bunch of sugar, like her anxiety is heightened, her ability to, listen and focus is diminished.
Mood swings,
sleep deprivation,
anger, ability to fall asleep, everything. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you can almost, that's part of being a toddler anyway. So I don't know if it's all sugar related, but you can almost see like the direct correlation.
Yeah.
And she craves a lot of sugar. Like she asks for donuts, she asks for candy, she asks for cookies. She doesn't eat dinner. So
she should just eat all the sugar she wants.
That'd be the sugar
we can
diet.
just test her out and see from a metabolic standpoint, is she getting better or worse? Probably not a good idea.
But that's what she's been used to, So I think that's what a lot of kids are used to. That's just the way of the world. What's convenient for mom and dad? What's super easy for them to help themselves to? That doesn't need like preparation, walk through the grocery store aisles, like everything's prepackaged and it's all marketed towards kids, and it's all like little packets and pouches and bags of snacks and all this kind of stuff. And the stuff that's healthy, alternatives to that stuff, isn't there, doesn't exist.
It's funny, man. Like it starts with the kids, and then it just transcends them, and they grow older, and then it just becomes the habit.
Unfortunately,
thing.
Yeah. Like if you stay on that same path for years and decades, you're diabetic, you're obese, you have heart issues, you have mental health issues, you have ADHD. I mean, it's just a myriad of things.
But it's funny because it goes beyond just food. Because I was looking, so we've been watching The Waltons as a family, like one episode of that in the evenings, and on the weekend we may watch a movie with the family. And I was looking for a kid, appropriate movie, and I went to like the kids and family section, and like 99% of all the movies for kids, they're all animated. Like there's no real movies anymore. They're all animated.
That's
so
true.
They're all super high color, high brightness, high, intensity, overstimulatory, not real. So the kids are getting no real food, no real, media content. And then they're like inundated with fantasies and like, Santa Claus, and just nothing against Santa Claus, but like they're not really fed anything real and tangible in life. It's all just a mysterious make-believe world to them.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why when they grow up, it's like they're not even living in this world. Like they don't have these basic skill sets and fundamental, abilities. And it's like, well, why would they? We've been just inundated with all this
they're just
fake nonsense.
They're just being fed all this craziness. And why do you think all these like shootings and just crazy, things happen?
So we got to be real, man. We got to be real. We need to make a shirt that says "Be real" or "Real."
I bet there's
AF,
one out there.
Probably
Real AF.
Real AF. I think Andy Frisella has a shirt that says "Real AF."
Real AF.
You listen to him?
No, don't know.
So he's the guy that started First Form. The First Form supplement company. Yeah. So he started. I think it was called Supplement Superstore, and he started in Kansas, I believe, Missouri or Kansas, something like that. And he, sleep on the warehouse floor, built the whole thing up. Now, obviously, a super successful supplement company. But he does a lot of mindset stuff, and he's got a podcast. And I listened to some of his stuff a long time ago when I was in the railroad still. I don't know what chapter he was in during that time frame, 2014, 15. But he had some pretty good stuff, and he was all about just being authentic, being real, working hard, which I resonated with for sure.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, now I listen to the Work podcast.
Oh, it's pretty good. I've heard.
It's pretty good. I honestly don't listen to our podcast, but you do, right?
I do, yeah. I mean, I do just because it's kind of nice to hear back what we talk about. And
does it sound like we know what we're talking about, or does it sound like we're just Goobers?
But it's really casual format.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, let's listen to these guys.
It's funny because I don't listen to my podcast after I record them. I don't watch my YouTube videos typically after I record them.
Post and ghost.
I don't really do any of that stuff. I do want to get more comments though. Like we've been looking, cause like with Spotify, since we moved to Spotify, you can comment in Spotify. We're putting it on YouTube too, cause it's video. So you can obviously comment on YouTube, and we haven't really been getting many comments on the Work podcast. So we need to find a way to incentivize comments.
What kind of comments are you looking for?
Just feedback. Like what do people want to hear more of? Yeah. What do people like? What do they dislike? Like it's kind of exciting when we're revamping the podcast and doing this new format. Like I want to hear what people think about it. And like people will email me and say, hey, they really like it.
I was going to say, I've had some messages come through. They're like, oh, whatever you guys talk about is pretty cool.
Yeah. The tribe, the live call that we do, like we've gotten positive feedback there, but it'd be good to see feedback on the platform itself. Because then we could totally cater the conversation to questions that we receive.
Yeah. So if you guys are listening.
Yeah. If you're listening.
Drop us a note.
Yeah. I'll do one better. The next person that leaves a legitimate comment for a topic discussion, if we use that topic in the next recording, then I'll hook you up with something cool.
A mystery box.
A mystery box of bricks, maybe some swag.
Maybe some apparel, maybe something.
Okay. I don't know. I'll make it worth your while. So let us know in the comments.
Challenge is on.
Challenge is on.
Sweet.
Yeah, we can send them some of your foot pics.
Let's pass. Yeah,
that's not
for free.
Not a good thing. Not for free.
Yeah.
Is that open discussion? Can we talk about that, or you want to keep that on?
Let's save that one.
Let's save that one. Okay. No foot pics on the podcast.
Not on the work.
Yeah, not on the work. Or I'll stop talking.
Yeah. Anyways,
so what direction you want to pivot to now? Away from feet.
You had a good Mother's Day weekend?
I did have a good Mother's Day weekend.
So you guys posted some pictures. Where'd you guys go?
So we woke up, and then what did we do?
Crystal, you went to church somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah. So Crystal wanted to go out to eat. So we had coffee together, watched the sunrise, and then Rigel woke up, and then we all got dressed up and went out to eat at First Watch. and I actually worked that into my macros. I had 9 eggs and 3 pieces of bacon.
Nice.
And then we went to Legacy Church for their Mother's Day service. And Crystal was volunteering in the kids' room, so she had like 9 kids by herself, so she was pretty busy. And then after that, we came home and we gave Rigel that little 0-turn mower. And then we put him down for a nap, which was brutal. Man, he did not want to go down for a nap. I think the mower like hyped him up. And he like fell asleep in the truck on the way home. So he had like a little bit of a nap. And then we woke him up. He got all excited. And then, man, yeah, he was not easy putting down for the second time. And then after that, I grilled Crystal and Rigel and myself some steaks. So
sweet. That's
that
pretty
was
good.
That was the first time I'd eaten a steak from that grass-finished cow we got.
How was it?
So it was good. It's crazy how lean it is, though. I did a sous vide with it and cooked them rare on the sous vide. And then I turned on the that Schwenk grill that I have that cooks at like 1,500 degrees. And I seared both sides. And there's like a little drip tray on the bottom of it.
Because that heats from the top, right?
Yeah, heats from the top. And then it's like 1,500 degrees. So it's like 1 minute each side. And there's a drip tray on the bottom because the flames are from the top. So like normally when you cook a steak in there, like the drip tray is just like flowing over with fat. But there's like a couple drops in there from this because that is like so freakishly lean.
What cut did you cook?
I cooked a New York strip for me and then filet mignon for them. So super lean cuts.
Yeah, they're pretty lean.
But even considering that, like there was just no fat on them.
Crazy. How do the ribeyes look? Because those usually have a bit more marbling in them.
Yeah, a bit more marbling. But still, I mean, nothing compared to a typical ribeye steak that you get from the grocery store. I mean, like when I cut open that elk, like that elk was the leanest thing I've ever seen. Like that elk is like just deep purple meat, no fat at all.
Is that more lean than venison?
Yeah. Elk is, I mean, it kind of depends on what the deer are eating. Same with elk too, but like elk, they're usually at elevation. They're typically eating like, sagebrush and just scrub oak and just, stuff that you're not really going to have a whole lot of fat accumulating from. Whereas deer, depending on where they're at, they may be eating the same thing or they may be eating like a bunch of corn from a nearby farmer's field.
And stuff,
So like they're going to be fattier. But like, yeah, this grass-finished cow was probably on par with venison as far as how lean it is.
Wow.
That lamb that I raised those an extra year, and those were super fatty. But it was different, man. Like the fat on that lamb, like it was technically mutton because they were 2 years old. But like I left all the fat into it. I didn't trim any of it. Like I ground it all up. When I cook a pound of ground lamb, you would think it'd be just a ton of, rendered fat left in the pan, but it soaks it all up and there's not hardly any, fat drippings. Like it's super fatty, but it just like reabsorbs it all.
Interesting.
And it's like so delicious. Huh. You have any of that lamb left, Chip?
One bag, man.
One bag. It's pretty good, isn't it? That's probably the best lamb I've ever eaten. So yeah, it's good.
I'm not a fan of lamb. I've tried lamb a few different ways and I don't know.
You haven't tried that lamb that I raised, though, right?
I don't know if I tried that one.
All right, before I
dismiss it totally.
Let me cook you some of that lamb and see if you like it. Crystal's the same way with fish. Like, she doesn't eat fish. She doesn't like fish. She grew up in California. My folks are always trying to get her to eat fish, and she's like, I don't like fish. But then I cooked her some fish the other day, and she liked it. So you can't dismiss it totally.
Tides are turning.
Yeah, tides are turning.
Yeah, but I think sometimes when you're younger and you have something that you don't like, it kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, it's
and
like
then you're just like, I don't like fish
Yeah.
or olives or whatever. I hate olives, by the way. I still do. But that when I was
like olives?
Yeah, when I was a kid, our babysitter for some reason made my brother and I eat olives, and I just since that day I just couldn't eat olives, and I tried them again in my adult years. Same thing, hate them.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
The weirdest thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like olives. That's probably the only thing that
Like black olives, green olives, just
black olives,
and
green
dill?
olives. I just don't really like them.
Huh. Interesting. You're not opposed to like trying something totally new for the first time without hesitation, though, right?
Depending on what you're trying to.
Like if you went to Japan next week and they had some weird dish that they said was like cat tongue, you wouldn't hesitate to eat it?
Depending on what it looks like and whether or not I know what it is going into it. Like if I sit down and there's a plate of some weird looking squid or something that's just looks raw, like you just plucked it out of the ocean, I'm probably not going to want to stick that in my mouth.
Yeah.
But if it looks like meat and it looks desirable, and maybe it looks like steak or something that I do like, and I eat it, and then you tell me, yeah, that was, bull testicles, then I'm gonna be like, okay, well, it tasted good. It's not a big deal. But
you ever had bull testicles?
I have, yeah.
They're
Rocky
good.
Mountain oyster, yeah.
I like. I might get into a conversation about balls that I've eaten, but I've eaten.
Oh, this
the
one's
beef testicles, the venison testicles. That elk I killed, they got pretty big balls. We sliced those in half, and then we salted them. We used way too much salt, but then we seared those, and that was super delicious. Turkey testicles are pretty good. It's all in how you cook it, It's all good.
Any human testicles?
Never human testicles. No, I haven't had those. Don't think that would appeal to me. But turkey testicles are about the same size, so
they are.
Yeah,
those turkeys have that big a.
Yeah,
dang.
Turkey's no joke. But yeah, I've seen some people. They had like I don't think it was AI. I think it was real. It's hard to know these days, but like they had live octopi. Not octopuses. I think it's octopi. And like they're still squirming around, and they'll like get like a chopstick or a fork, and they'll put it down in the middle of this big bowl of squirming octopi, and then like their tentacles will wrap around the fork, and then they'll just like stick it in their mouth and chew on it while they're all. See, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Now, if it was the same thing but cooked and dead, I'd totally eat it. But yeah, I don't want to like be killing it as I'm eating it. I want it to be dead when I eat it. I don't mind killing it, but I want it to be dead before I eat it, But yeah, I guess whatever floats your boat.
No, not me. I'm out. I'd be thrown up for sure.
Yeah. What about spiders?
Eating them?
Yeah. Some people eat spiders.
I've
eaten crickets.
On purpose?
Crickets are pretty good, yeah. Crickets are good. Chocolate covered crickets.
I think I've had those just because it's a novelty thing.
Yeah.
Like just a little, you don't really taste any cricket. It's just
I've eaten crickets alive. Like I'd eat the cricket, I'd catch it and then just eat it. The legs kind of tickle your throat when they're going down, though.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Lots of protein, though. That's why Bill Gates is doing it.
What's this deal with Bill Gates? I saw something on social media where everyone's out to arrest him for something. What's going on with that?
I haven't seen that. Okay. You're the one that's way ahead on social media than me.
That's where I get my news. Like I don't watch the news. Current events. That's where I turn on social media because then you can get like a real viewpoint on what's going on.
I haven't seen anything about him getting arrested. I saw that there's a bunch of like vegan food chains that are going out of business.
Yes,
though.
I did see that.
So like
darn it,
the Beyond Meats or Impossible Burger, I think they had a massive collapse. That was kind of old though, but there's been like I saw something that like Leonardo DiCaprio had like started a vegan food chain, and that was going under or something like that.
Good.
So yeah, I don't
there's
know.
Also a little bit in the news recently on 3D printed steaks.
Really?
That are now being offered, actually hitting the market now, being offered for sale. And I can't remember which country it was. Was it Finland maybe? Somebody listening might be able to quote me on it. But
see, I would try one, but I wouldn't make that my staple. Like I would try one out of curiosity to see how it compares, but I would never like gravitate to that.
No.
No, but you would try one, right?
I would, just to say I tried one, maybe like one bite or like one little nibble, but I'm not going to eat something that was concocted from not an animal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I say that I've never tried the Impossible Burger Beyond Meat Burger. Have you?
No.
I look at the package.
The ingredients are insane.
That's the thing. Like I don't want to try it because
the ingredient
is like
soybean oil.
Yeah. So like if it had clean ingredients, I would try it. But like I don't even like the ingredients. I don't know what
does have clean ingredients? Actual steak.
Yeah.
One ingredient.
Yeah. That is way better.
Plus
for me, it's like it goes beyond just the ingredients and the macronutrient profile. Like how am I making the biggest positive impacts for my local community and the environment? And I feel like if I'm getting it from farmers and ranchers that I know, like I'm providing a livelihood for them, and yeah, like they're doing it right. Like I want to
not coming out of a factory.
Yeah, like you vote with your dollar, and I would rather vote in that direction, like with my local farmers and ranchers.
Yeah, totally agreed.
So yeah, there's that. You gonna come over to my house and move some rocks for cardio?
Sure.
It'd be kind of fun,
Rock
right?
and roll.
Rock and roll.
When are we doing that?
I don't know. I've been thinking, I got that massive rock pile, and I think what I want to do is scrape out all the grass from around my house and then put all those rocks flat to make like this, rock pathway around the whole house, and then just like put gravel in between the rocks so that it kind of sticks them all together. That's going to be a freaking serious workload right there.
I've seen some spray adhesive that you can put on loose rock that keeps it in position.
For like stepping on it, so you don't
like
fall?
You probably don't need to do it with your stepping stone size rocks that you're talking about, but like the small, like I guess where I come from, they call it like class 5 or decorative rock or whatever, where you're going to put all that. It's just loose gravel, right? So like if you run over the edge of it with a lawnmower, or you accidentally catch it with a rake, or you scrape your foot and kick all the rocks into the grass, all that kind of stuff, they make a spray adhesive that you just simply coat all of those loose rocks. That way they are kind of concreted in position, but it's a clear sealant. So like they're not going to come loose. The rain isn't going to kick them out into the lawn. You're not going to drive over them and loosen them up and all that kind of stuff.
So is it like impermeous? So like rain wouldn't go through it either then, right?
I'm not sure how that works. That's a good question.
Because you'd have to have like a grade to it, so
yeah,
that the rain would drain
I suppose
off.
if it was going to like clear coat over the top as a smooth layer, you definitely want to grade it out.
Interesting.
But you don't have a basement or crawl space, right?
No,
So
mine's on a slab.
right. Yeah.
So that's an idea. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. I have to check that out. Spent all weekend freaking mowing. Still got more mowing to do.
You got to mow here at work too.
Yeah, I got to mow here. It's supposed to rain today, though, so I didn't bring my mower, but we'll do that later this week. We're putting a shower in. I'm excited about that. So the shower in the gym's getting in this week, probably today and tomorrow, and then we'll start training here. You want to just start training here more when we get back from Meatstock? If the shower's
I will
on?
need to kind of figure out my schedule so that can work, because I'd have to leave home early and get home early.
Yeah. Well, just let me know what works for your schedule, and we'll
Yeah.
accommodate that for sure. But I feel like that would be more efficient from a time standpoint. Because like inefficiencies, I was thinking about this. Inefficiencies are my biggest pet peeve in life. Like if I'm doing something that I know is inefficient and I know the better alternative, but for whatever reason I can't do that, I just get frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, so unnecessary driving, equipment malfunction, just anything like that. Like it drives me crazy. Honestly, that's probably why I got a little irritated with Rigel. And I shouldn't, because he's 3 and you can't reason with a 3-year-old. But like trying to get him down to sleep for an hour and a half when he's just like being defiant is not the most efficient thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's the thing that I have learned in the past and am relearning now is like, if you expect the day or the afternoon or some event or, you know, dinner or whatever to go a certain way with a toddler as part of that process, you got to be willing to adjust on the fly, because it's not going to go like, all right, we're going to go here, we're going to do that. This is what's going to happen at this time, and this is going to work out this way, and it doesn't. And if you're not willing to like pivot on a dime, like at the drop of a hat when you need to, you just get frustrated in your own mind. And if you can release that from being like a stronghold, it's so much less stressful.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like for me, like I haven't worked for somebody else in 6 years, 7 years, or whatever it's been. So like I live my life on my terms, which I like. I'm incredibly grateful for. I take 100% ownership and accountability for things that happen, good or bad. You know, so like somebody else that works under me messes up, like I still blame myself. So like there's a lot more weight that I bear with that. But I've gotten really used to just like, if I ask y'all to do something, you do it because you respect me. I pay y'all, and there's just like this understanding. You don't really get that with a 3-year-old. Like you ask them to do something, and they're like, "No," you know. So it's challenging. So I'm having to really work on being patient and having grace and being flexible.
Well, we can definitely help you strengthen those parts of your life if you want us to become a little bit more defiant. Like,
no.
You know, hey guys, can you unload that protein? No.
I would go crazy. I mean, the fact that I mean, y'all are like the yin yang, because like at home it's total not organized, total chaos. It's like I come to work and it's like work is chaos, but our internal unit is pretty streamlined. So like I need the blend of both, because if it was both chaos, then I would just not be a pleasant employer.
Maybe we should put Rigel on the books, or like put him on the payroll.
I should. He could be like our fitness model or something. He said something funny about you the other day.
About me?
Yeah. So I was giving him a shower, and what did I say? I said he was on this kick of like, I'm a kid. Like he's a kid. So he's like, I'm a boy, and someday I'm gonna be a man. And I was like, yes, that's correct. And then he was like, mommy's a boy. I'm like, no, mommy's a girl. And then he's like, okay, mommy's a girl. I'm like, but she's a woman now, technically. So I'm like, he's like, okay, mom's a woman. Same as Ellen. Yeah, so Ellen's a woman too. And he's like, and you're a man. I'm like, yes, I'm a man. And then he's like, Greg's a boy. And I'm like, and then he's like, maybe someday he'll be a man. And I said, maybe someday.
Next time I see him, I'm going to tell him I'm a man.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. How long are we doing, Chip?
35 minutes and 43 seconds.
All right. Let's call it there because we got a bunch to do today.
We got a lot to do today.
A lot to do today.
A lot of exciting things coming on Keto Brick fans.
Lots of exciting things. Loyalty programs hopefully going to be pushed live today. Price change pushes live today. Obviously, live today is in the moment this
Today's
recording.
Monday.
Yeah, this
12th.
is the 12th.
Yep.
So by the time y'all see this, it'll already be live. And then we'll leave them for Meatstock this week, so we got to get organized for that.
Yep. We got a ton of ingredients coming in. We got a ton of restocks in the plan. So
yeah, I think we talked about that last week.
We probably
but just
did.
to reiterate it, like we don't have hardly anything in stock right now, so my apologies there. But we literally ordered like 14 or 16 weeks worth of production. And just to give people the inside scoop, the next thing we're going to be producing is going to be carnivore cake pop. So we got that coming soon. Don't hold your breath soon, but pretty soon.
And it should be the biggest batch we've ever made, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, lots of good things coming. Until then, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Greg Arone, always a pleasure. Someday, maybe next time we record, you'll be a man.
Someday I'll be a man.
Someday you'll be a man. All right, ta-ta for now, y'all.
Ta-ta.